Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant from verses 6 to 10 of chapter 3. Karmendriyani sanyamya,
कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य
ya aste manasa smaran,
य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन्
indriyartan vimudhatma,
इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा
mithyachara sa uchyate.
मिथ्याचारः स उच्यते
Yastvindriyani manasa,
यस्त्विन्द्रियाणि मनसा
niyamyarabhaterjuna,
नियम्यारभतेऽर्जुन
कर्मेन्द्रियै कर्मयोगम्,
कर्मेन्द्रियै कर्मयोगम्
असक्तः स विशिष्यते.
असक्तः स विशिष्यते
नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वम्,
नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वम्
कर्मज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः,
कर्मज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः
शरीरयात्रापि च ते,
शरीरयात्रापि च ते
न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः,
न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र,
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र
लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः,
लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः
तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय,
तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय
मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर.
मुक्तसङ्गः युक्तसङ्गः समाचर
सह यज्ञाः प्रजाः सृष्ट्वा
सह यज्ञा प्रजा सृष्ट्वा
पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः
पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः
अनेन प्रसविष्यद्वम्
अनेन प्रसविष्यद्वम्
येषवोऽस्त्विष्टकामधुक्
येषवोऽस्त्विष्टकामधुक्
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So we have entered verse number 8, which is a very powerful verse, because Lord Krishna is giving a direct message, direct instructions. Do this. Now, no master gives direct instructions to a student just like that. Only if the student is very devoted, only if the student has surrendered fully, does a master give a direct message. So that is why this particular verse is a very powerful verse. After this, in many other verses also, here and there, he'll be giving the messages in a direct way. Now, what does he say in this verse? We just started seeing that. Niyatam kuru karmatvam. Perform your obligatory action. Indeed, action is superior to inaction. Even the maintenance of your body is not possible without action. So when it comes to verbal communication, there are two types of verbal communication. One is indirect verbal communication, and another is direct verbal communication. Now, what is very interesting is the human mind learns most of the things in an indirect way only. It has been observed by the psychologists that a child who learns everything starting from scratch learns in an indirect way. 99.9% of a child's learning is incidental, they say. If you directly tell a child, do this, don't do this, the chances of the child learning the principle actually are very much reduced. Parents would have experienced this. Sometimes the mother and father are having a conversation and the child is just running around and playing in that room. Sometimes the child is not even in the room and goes to another room and comes back and is running around. So the parents think that, the child is only playing, so let us discuss something very important. And they discuss. Now what is interesting is, after a few weeks, when, let us say, one of the parents, they ask, do you remember that point which we discussed that day? And the other person asks, which one? I don't remember. Suddenly the child comes in between and says, this was the point and this was the example which was given. And the parents get shocked. This is a kind of experience which every parent would have actually had, where it looks as if the child is not focusing, the child is not concentrating, child is just playing, but it absorbs each and everything from that conversation. This is what the psychologists call as incidental learning. So what they say is that a child learns many things in an incidental way. Direct learning is very less, the proportion, compared to what a child learns incidentally, indirectly. Now, the mind in you is like a child only. Whatever the mind picks up is incidental. Most of the things. So that is why what a master does is that the majority of the time he is always indirect. Why is it that the mind learns in an indirect way? That is also something which is very interesting. See, you have the conscious mind and then you have the subconscious mind. Now, when you're trying to learn something directly, the conscious mind is very active. And as they say, the anxiety to sleep keeps you awake. Means if you're very anxious about doing something, you will not be able to do it properly. You may incidentally be very good in that. Still, you will miss out if you're too anxious. So whenever you say, okay, now let me now learn, and you do it with all seriousness, the conscious mind is very active and it becomes anxious. So that anxiety prevents you or prevents your mind from absorbing the message fully, and only when you absorb it can go into your subconscious mind. Whereas a child who is just playing, again we are going back to that example, now you're not putting any pressure on the child, you're not calling the child and giving any advice. There is no pressure, it is just playing, it is in a relaxed mode. So the anxiety of the conscious mind is not there. At that time, when it hears something, that goes directly into the subconscious mind. Now, with respect to Arjuna also, it is the same thing. If you see his question, he says, I'm very confused. Now tell me one thing whether it is going to be gaining knowledge or whether it is action, what is it that I need to focus on? So he is very anxious about the whole thing. His conscious mind is very anxious. It is anxious for an answer. Now, when that anxiety is there, if Krishna gives him a direct answer, he will not be able to absorb it. It is not his fault. It is just that the conscious mind, when it becomes too alert, it can develop this tendency to become anxious. So Krishna takes him for a walk, as it were. He gives many messages indirectly, and Arjuna's mind gets involved in that. And as the mind calms down a bit, suddenly Krishna gives this direct message, or the message in a direct way, direct instructions. And it goes directly into the subconscious mind. Again, when the conscious mind becomes anxious, Krishna will go on to the mode of indirect teachings. So a master carefully watches the student and changes his mode of verbal communication according to the condition of the mind of the student. That is very important. You see, generally, when you communicate something to someone, there is no reference, there is no analysis. No, it's not a question of analysis, it's observation. There is no observation about whether that person is receiving or not. It is just like a monologue. From your side, you keep on talking. That way, you can never effectively communicate whatever you want to communicate. I have actually seen many parents, they give advice to their children. The children just nod mechanically. Externally, they nod. But internally, they are resisting. But the parent is unable to see through that because there is no observation. See, this is a very powerful principle which Krishna is using. Now we will see it from Krishna's angle and we will see it from Arjuna's angle. That will be very useful to you. So you can apply this when you are communicating with others. You can apply this principle. And when you view it from Arjuna's angle, how will it be useful to you? It will be very useful to you to absorb more as a sadhak. So the fundamental thing here is that you need to learn to observe others objectively. You are so caught up with yourself that you fail to observe others. Again, I am carefully using the word observe, not gossip. Because the moment it is said observe others, now the mind will get into the tendency of gossiping. You will start becoming very judgmental and say this person is right, this person is wrong, what all he did. And we are not talking of that. We are talking of an objective watching, an objective observation of what the other person's mind is when you are communicating. So in life, you would be facing many situations. You will be communicating to your spouse, you will be communicating to your children, you will be communicating to your boss, to your colleagues. I am here talking only about verbal communication. Communication itself is a separate is a separate subject, very, very deep, subject. Lot of principles are there. A separate empowerment course should be given if you want to master that communication. That we'll see in the future. But right now, you can start practicing the simple principle with respect to verbal communication. When you are talking to someone, is the other person receiving your message or not? Simple. So when you start observing others, then it will be very interesting. You will see a pattern in their thinking. You will see a beautiful pattern in the way their minds are functioning. Accordingly, you will automatically adapt whatever you have to say. So remember, your communication should not be a monologue. It shouldn't be a one-way communication. Whether you are talking or whether you are listening, it should always be a two-way communication. One person is talking and the other person should receive it. Otherwise, there is no meaning in that communication. So these small principles will help you to improve your clarity, to improve your communication skills. So the first block which the mind faces in receiving the message from the master is the anxiety to receive. So that is why, when some people come to me and they say, "Oh, Yogishri, I want to meet you. I want to discuss, I have a particular problem. I want to discuss." Now, when I see that anxiety in the mind, whether they externally exhibit that anxiety or not, it doesn't matter. But, I'm talking of the energy of anxiety. When it is there in the mind, I gently discourage them. I don't meet them, or I don't have any private conversation with them, because there's no point. If I give them an appointment and if they come and meet me, the anxiety to receive will only increase. They are stuck with a particular issue, particular problem. And if the anxiety to find a solution increases further, they will never be able to find a solution. So what I tell them is, are you watching the Sunday discourses? Watch the Sunday sessions for a while. Do the sadhana. Invariably what happens is that when they do that, the anxiety of the conscious mind that drops. And when the anxiety drops, they get their answers in the Sunday sessions themselves. Many people have mentioned this. "Sir, I wanted to meet you, but later on I got the answer from the Sunday session." Every week the answers are there. You take any session, it is complete in itself. This will be very surprising for you, because you're feeling that, only one point is covered, 2 points are covered. No. Every point is covered in a way where it is linked to everything else in your life. All the answers are there, but you are not receiving them. But when the anxiety drops, immediately you receive. So that is why a master adopts this indirect way of communicating, so that he circumvents the weakness of the mind, that is the anxiety, and he is able to reach the deeper minds of the students. And whenever he finds that the student drops the anxiety, at that time he barges inside and gives a direct message. That is what has happened with Arjuna. Last several verses, Krishna has been talking in an indirect way, so Arjuna's anxiety has come down. At that time, suddenly, he gives this direct message, Niyatam Kuru Karmatvam, do your obligatory action. And within a short while, again Arjuna's anxiety will increase. Then Krishna will mellow it down, again indirectly. He'll start talking in an indirect way. See the genius of these great masters. They have studied the human psychology so well. If you go to the scriptures, most of the scriptures are in the form of question and answers only. Somebody asks a question and the Guru gives the answer. And it is always adapted so beautifully, designed so beautifully for the student to absorb in the maximum possible way. If everything is given in a direct way, the knowledge will be given, but absorption will be very less by the student. It happened some time back. A person suddenly came to me, one of the sadhaks only, and he said, Yogishri, today, in today's session, this point, he mentioned about a point, he said, this point which you said was mind-boggling, it just hit me, and that has solved the problem which I had. I have been having this problem for many years. And this one point which you said has exactly addressed that point. But I have a question to you. I have been attending these sessions for last 5 years. Why is it that you never told me this for last 5 years? Almost like a complaint he gave, You seem to have, what he is indicating is you have the knowledge, but you've been hiding it from me all along. Suddenly, today only you have mentioned. Why is it that for 5 years you kept it a secret, Yogishri? And now, please understand. That's what I told him. Why would anybody keep a secret unnecessarily? What is it that I'm going to gain by withholding any information from you? There is nothing. It's a very childish way of thinking, The same message has been given in many ways. But it is just that today you have suddenly absorbed it. That's all. That is why it is said that association with a master, with one person, that is one guru, for a long period of time, that alone will give you the absorption. In the good old days when the student used to go to a guru, now they used to stay with the guru, associate with the guru, and they'll cut off from all other sources of knowledge. It is only what the guru is giving. Now when they keep on getting exposed, they will absorb. It's only a question of time. In between, like let's say you're watching these Sunday sessions, in between you're reading some other books on the same subject. Now this book, that book, this person, that, you will not absorb anything. The careful structure which a master gives, that will be completely missed. You will only become loaded with information, but there will be no transformation. So this is the first weakness of the mind. The second weakness which a student has, here weakness means a block, which can act as a block. The second block is that the mind always resists whatever it is being told directly. One is that anxiety to receive, now that will prevent you from absorbing. The other one is the tendency of the mind is to resist when something is given directly. Why? Because the ego does not like to take instructions. Many a times, you can observe this and see, many a times when a child is doing something, now if you leave the child will do the thing in a right way. If you just call the child and say, listen, don't go there, do play everywhere, but don't go there. The moment you say that, now the child will immediately start going there. Have you seen that? If you say, do this, now immediately the child will resist. Why? It is the block which every human mind faces. Whenever something is given directly, direct instructions actually challenge a person's ego, as it were. It is only a very, very advanced yogi who can take direct instructions, fully I'm talking of. See, if you go to the advanced sadhanas, now no questions are asked. The Guru just tells, do this, do this, do this. The entire instructions are over. And the student who is at a very advanced level is able to absorb every bit of what the Guru gives directly. Why? Because there is no interference from the ego. There is no resistance. So when you say do this, now the mind will resist. If you say don't do this, again the mind will resist. Now then you may ask me, then what should I say? Best is not to say anything. It has to be indirect, most of the time. So the human mind tends to resist whatever is told directly. Why is it that Arjuna is listening to Krishna? See, in the first chapter, Arjuna was doing the talking. He was trying to tell Krishna what is the right thing to do. Krishna just kept quiet. When Arjuna started crying, when he was unable to act, at that time Krishna just mentioned a few things, just a couple of verses. And then again Arjuna started talking. Krishna just kept quiet. Now how was it that Arjuna came into a listening mode? In the first chapter he was not in a listening mode at all. He was actually trying to tell Krishna what has to be done. The reason why Arjuna got into the listening mode is because Krishna just kept quiet. He never got into advising Arjuna straight away, because he knew that if he advises Arjuna straight away, now Arjuna will resist. Because that is the psychology of the mind. So he just kept quiet. And even when Arjuna said, I am your Shishya, I completely surrendered to you, I am your disciple, please guide me and all that, Krishna never gave direct instruction straight away. If you see the second chapter, again it's an indirect method. Why? Because Arjuna is saying I have surrendered, but surrender itself is a process. I would say it's a lifetime process. You may want to surrender, but the ego will prevent you from surrendering fully. So the master understands. He doesn't expect a student to surrender 100% straight away. If you're able to actually surrender 100% straight away, then you don't require a guru at all, because that means you have dissolved your ego fully. And if you have dissolved your ego fully, you have become enlightened. So it's a process. So when Arjuna says that I have surrendered to you, Krishna, I am your disciple, now he has only started the process of surrender. So if it had been, let us say, just for argument's sake, let us say a false master, an immature master who doesn't have a deep understanding, he would have immediately jumped and said, now that you have surrendered, this is my advice to you, do this, do that, do that. Again Arjuna would have gotten into a kind of a resisting mode. So Krishna doesn't do that. Throughout the Bhagavad Gita, he keeps talking in an indirect way, and every now and then he intercepts those indirect messages with direct instructions whenever Arjuna is off guard, as it were. Because these two factors have to be considered before a direct message is given. Number one is that person having that anxiety. Sometimes when you're caught up with your problem, you're so anxious about finding a solution. So that time, if a solution is given, you will miss it. So that is the first obstacle. And the second obstacle is this resistance coming from ego. So when both these are relatively down, that is when a master gives a direct message. This is one such portion. Krishna has worked on Arjuna's mind for quite a while, and now Arjuna has lowered himself. Lowered in the sense, lowered his shutters, as it were, and all the blocks, and he is kind of relaxed. His mind is in a relaxed state. At that time, Krishna just comes in and says, perform your obligatory action, because it will directly get into the subconscious mind. So when you go to a master, you may ask a question to him. He will not give a direct answer. He may go take you here, take you there. When you least expect it, suddenly he'll give you the answer. That is in a direct way. At that time, there is no point in asking the master, why didn't you tell me this before, and all that? Because for everything, the timing is very important. See, even when a person cracks a joke, the timing is so important, no? One second this side, that side, the joke will not have its value. Same thing with respect to these higher principles also, the great messages. Otherwise, if the mind does not have all these weaknesses, it is a very simple thing for the master. It will hardly take a moment for the master to transfer this wisdom, to transfer this energy fully to a student. When someone went to a Siddha and asked him, how long does it take to get enlightened? He said, as long as it takes a needle to pierce a rose petal. That's it. That's all. In that one flash of a moment, this entire wisdom can be given, but the mind is not ready to receive it. the greatest avatara, Lord Krishna, he had to work on Arjuna's mind with all his supreme powers. What a grand state Lord Krishna is in. He is the infinite. But he is very, very patient with Arjuna because he knows that certain things cannot be short-circuited. You cannot have shortcuts. So here he is giving the direct message, perform your niyatam karma, obligatory action. So generally speaking, when a student approaches a master, unless and until the student surrenders, the master will not give direct information, the direct instructions. Many people approach a master. Now, to everyone, he keeps giving messages in an indirect way. But to that person who surrenders to him or her, the master may give direct instructions. Remember, whenever a master says, do this, do that, immediately understand that you are ready for that. Not only are you ready, without the possibility, without you having that capacity to do it, he will never ask you to do something. When you are caught up with a particular problem, you feel there is no solution and the master says, do this. Now, since you are bogged down by the issue, you may feel, oh, how can I do this? My master is asking me to do something which I cannot. No, he will never ever tell you to do something which you cannot. When the master is talking in an indirect way, he may give certain messages, he may give certain knowledge even from the higher levels for you to slowly grow and practice. But whenever he is giving a direct instruction, he is very sure that you can do it. It will always be from your level only. So when a master gives a direct instruction, immediately the student should start practicing that. No more questions. Can I do it? Can I not do it? All those doubts come because of ego. If you cannot do something, a master will never ask you to do it. Supposing let us say, you're having a particular habit which you're unable to give up. No, master will never say give it up so easily. He will wait. He'll prepare you, assuming that that habit is a negative habit. Let us say you're addicted to something, but he will give a lot of time. He'll make you do a lot of sadhana. But when the right time comes, he will say, give it up. If you have that surrender, if you have the true devotion, immediately you will receive it and that negative habit will go away once and for all. But there, if the ego comes, then you will say, oh, it is very difficult for me to practice. It is almost impossible. All these things. That shows that there is no intention to give it up. The ego has again taken over. Then the master will withdraw. So, the first word which you have to focus on in this verse is kuru. And that has to be read with the other word tvam. Kuru tvam. Tvam kuru means you do. So a direct practice is being given by Lord Krishna. The fact that he is saying do what? We'll see that. We'll come to that. The niyatam karma. That is a very deep sadhana which he is giving. But first thing is, I want you to focus on that word kuru. Kuru tvam. You do. You means now don't think Krishna is talking to Arjuna. Now take it as a direct message for yourself. You do. This is what Lord Krishna is telling you. It's a direct instruction. The moment he says do this, understand that you have the capacity to do it. The problem is, you believe in so many things. You believe in the power of so many people, but you don't believe in yourself. When it is said that this person did tapas and got enlightened, that person got enlightened, great rishis, great sages, all that is easy for you to believe. But when it is said, now you do the meditation, you get enlightened, that is very difficult for you to believe. The society has imposed a lot of negative thoughts in your deeper mind. You have just passively accepted all these negative beliefs, self-limiting beliefs. I can't do this, I can't do that. It is all coming from negative beliefs. So the first thing which as a sadhak you should do is to overcome these negative beliefs. Release them during your sadhana. The moment you are a sadhak, anything is possible. Even with respect to your health, the moment you think, this disease cannot be cured, that disease can never be cured. It is the deeper belief I'm talking of. It is not about what you're saying verbally. In the history of medicine, you will find that certain diseases were incurable. They thought it was incurable at one point of time, and it was incurable only. But later, when they thought, no, why not we find a cure for that, it became curable. It is a question of what you are accepting at the deeper level. As Henry Ford rightly said, whether you say you can or whether you say you can't, either way you are right, he said. If you say I can, you are right, you can do it. If you say I can't, then also you are right, you can't do it. It is a question of what you believe. So the first thing, even before we get into the message, is to prepare the right ground. And that preparation is by removing these self-imposing beliefs which you have passively accepted from others right from early childhood. I would say from your past births, but at least in this birth, right from early childhood. You have been accepting all the instructions. Because see, as I said, the mind learns in an incidental way. You keep on hearing so many things, and all that gets into your system. And as your beliefs are, so will your actions be. When you do something with lack of self-belief, you will not be successful there. When you do the same thing with a lot of self-belief, you will be successful in that. So when Krishna says, Tvam Kuru, you do. Now it is easy to pass and say, this is what Krishna has asked you to do. Do this, do that, do this, do that. No, that is not enough. That is just an intellectual approach. Here we are taking the yogic approach. So if you want to absorb this message fully, now find out what are the belief systems which you have accepted passively. Your entire behavior, your entire personality is nothing but what you are believing. Even when it comes to God, people believe in God out of fear. Many people, I'm saying. They do many rituals because they are afraid. Oh, if I don't do this, something will happen. Again, that is a belief. So when your beliefs are negative, they will start limiting you. One of the main purpose of the Yoga Sankirtan sadhana is to break your negative beliefs and bring back the positive energy from within you. Whenever you're caught up with a particular problem and you're getting stuck there, it means you're lacking self-belief. Let it be an issue regarding your health, let it be an issue regarding a habit which you're trying to overcome, or a financial difficulty, or a relationship problem, whatever it is. When you get stuck and when you think, oh, there is nowhere to go, I am unable to do it, understand it is coming from a lack of self-belief. So do sadhana and release that negative energy. And when you release that energy pattern, and then when you start doing the same thing, you will find that you will be successful in that. So it is very easy. Tvam Kuru. Directly he is saying. Now what is interesting is the master believes in the student, but the student has no belief in himself. Actually, Bhagavad Gita should have ended here, because Krishna is directly saying, do your obligatory action. And this is Arjuna's obligatory duty to fight, being a warrior. So shouldn't the Bhagavad Gita have ended here? Why isn't that the Bhagavad Gita is ending here? After this, again and again, Arjuna keeps asking so many questions. Why? Why isn't Arjuna able to follow this? Because he is not having that self-belief. He is believing in his weakness only. What is preventing Arjuna from just getting up? Oh, thank you, Krishna. Now you have said, I have to do my duty. I understand. I will get up and now let me now fight. He is not saying that here. That's why so much was given by the Lord. We are quite thankful to Arjuna that he didn't get back his confidence very fast. Otherwise, we would have missed the whole Bhagavad Gita. It is only towards the end where Arjuna gets back that confidence and belief. He takes back his bow. See, it's very interesting. His bow was called Gandiva. It was one of the most feared bow. They say that nobody could lift that bow except Arjuna. So powerful that bow was. It was a divine bow. And when he used to tie the string to that bow and create a noise by pulling the string, it used to send waves of fear in the enemy camp. So powerful was his bow, and because Arjuna was such a powerful warrior. And if you see in the first chapter, Arjuna says, Gandiva is slipping from my hands. I am not able to hold this bow. I am not able to hold a Gandiva. He doesn't even have that much confidence to hold the bow. He feels so weak. That was the state which he got into. It's not about Arjuna. There is a very deep message there. Entire humanity has lost its self-belief. Today, why is it that you're running around looking for solutions outside? Because you don't realize that the solutions are there right within you. Why is it that you're afraid about a virus or a bacteria? Because you don't believe in your own immune system. Even at the physical level, the belief is going away today. A person just catches a cold, a normal cold or a fever, immediately there's a panic. Why? Because you don't have that trust, that belief that my immune system can fight it. Actually, your immune system can fight it, provided you don't limit yourself. The doctors say, don't be afraid, because fear lowers your immune system. They say that. So whether it's at the physical level or whether it is at the financial level or relationship, at any level, that self-belief is not there. And more so when it comes to the spiritual level. When we talk of the great masters, the belief is there. But when we talk of you growing, now you feel, I am nothing. It's very, very difficult. So at all levels, this disease of lack of self-belief has creeped into your system. Now it is time to work on that and release all those negative factors. A sadhak is one who is filled with a lot of self-confidence, not false confidence. See, without understanding what your capacity is, without understanding the situation, just simply psyching yourself to believe that I can do something, that is a false belief. I'm not talking of that. I'm talking of removing all your limitations through sadhana. So if you want to absorb the message from this verse, take it up as a homework for this week. Work on your belief system. First, find out what your belief system is. How will you find out what your belief system is? As far as sadhana is concerned, very easy. Just take up different areas of your life and see what are the things which you really feel you cannot achieve. You may have, let us say, a particular work to do, your career. This I cannot achieve. Now there you go a little more deep. Has there been anybody else who has achieved that? Yes. Then why is it that I can't achieve it? Even if others are not able to achieve, why is it that I can't achieve it? You should first question that. When it comes to a relationship, that person can never understand. Impossible to communicate to that person. Why? It is your belief. If Krishna can communicate to Arjuna, who was completely down, he said, I cannot fight. That's the lowest state a person can get into. A state where he is completely overpowered by mental stress and he says, I'm incapacitated to act. So if such a person can be communicated to, why not anybody else? You may not be using the right psychology, you may not be observing it properly. You know, when people ask about fixing goals, I always tell them, fix a small goal initially. Don't fix a very big goal, because you will not have the belief that you can achieve it straight away. Something which you believe in is what you should fix as a goal. And this is something easy for me to achieve. And slowly you have to build your confidence. You know, when in one of the empowerment programs, that is when we had it live in the auditorium, there was one session where where a lady asked this question. She said, I'm having a lot of problems with my husband, and he is being very irresponsible. A list of things she was saying. So I told her, okay, now what is it that you want from here? Can you first visualize and can you tell me? So she said, I want my husband to be kind. I want my husband to be this. I want to experience all this. But as she was saying, there was no conviction in her words. So then I asked her, do you believe all these things will happen? She said, no. Even as I'm saying that, what are the pictures? I asked her, even as you're saying that, what are the pictures you're seeing? Or what are you visualizing? She said, even as I'm saying these things, I'm only seeing my husband as a negative person. So I said, those pictures will only come out as reality for you in your life. So I told her, do the sadhana for a while. Remove all your limitations, because you are the creator of your life. Today you are thinking your spouse is more powerful than you. No. You have the authority, you have the power to create your life. She worked on her limitations. And then after about a few months, when she released the negative pattern, thereafter, when she said, I want to experience a very happy married life in her own way, whatever she had described, everything became a reality. There was a radical change in the way her husband started behaving. She was amazed. Because she was able to break those karmas. So your own belief systems actually comes from those karmas. And when your karmas are negative, the belief system is also negative. So we need to work on that. So this is a small homework which I am giving you. Take the different areas of your life and see those things which you are strongly feeling will not happen. It's not about what you're saying. As this lady said, my husband, I can feel that my husband is kind to me. It was all just empty words. She was feeling that her husband is incapable of kindness. So like this, you can find out in your life what are the areas where you are lacking belief in something which is positive. Now, start doing your sadhana. First, increase your awareness in those areas. Instead of blaming the circumstance, you start looking within and say, oh, this is where the belief has not yet become strong, the positive belief. Rather, I am expecting something worse only here. Whether that the external circumstances cause this internal negative belief, or whether it is the internal belief which is causing that circumstance, it does not matter. If you want a solution, you have to work from within only. So take it up as a homework and you do it this week. This is a very subtle homework which I have given you. It will not be so simple. To locate your beliefs is one of the most difficult things to do. I am just putting a word of caution, because otherwise you will start sending me mail, oh, I am finding it very difficult. And it is no doubt difficult, but it is not impossible. Wherever you're frustrated, let us say you want to come to an ideal weight. Now question your beliefs. It is not about what you're saying. Oh, I want to reduce weight. Oh, I want to come to this thing. I want to slim down. All these things you may be saying, you may even write down as your goals and all that. But what is the belief which you're having? You are believing that you are overweight. You are believing that this cannot come down. That fear is there. That will only come out as a reality. You may do yoga, you may do dieting, all these things you may do. Still, the desired result will not come unless you change the belief system. You have a particular health issue. Again, find out what your belief system is. You're believing more in the disease rather than in the healing energy. I'm talking of the deep-rooted beliefs which you're having. This is a subtle sadhana, and the daily practice of Yoga Sankirtan will help you in releasing the deep-rooted negative energy patterns which you have created for yourself. As I told you, every Sunday I'm also side by side preparing you for the 22-day Finding Rhythm in Life empowerment program which we are going to have. Now, this is one of the preparations, working on the belief systems. So, Niyatam Kuru Karmatvam. You split it up and read it like this. Kuru Tvam. See, 1, 2, 3, 4 words are there. No? Niyatam Kuru Karma Tvam. 1 and 3, read them together. Niyatam Karma. We will see that. 2 and 4, Kuru and Tvam. You do. The master is asking you to do something. You can do it if you have that belief, that self-belief, belief in yourself, that self-confidence. You will not be able to do it if you lack self-confidence. So, Kuru Tvam, you do, perform what? Niyatam Karma, your obligatory action. Perform your obligatory action. It's a very, very powerful thing. Actually, this verse is amazing because it's not about merely giving some direct messages alone. There is so much of psychology which is being used. If you go into the depth of this verse, you will start influencing your own mind in a very positive way. Without going into the depth, if you just read, Krishna is asking me, is telling me, I should do my duties. Okay, anyway, I'm doing my duties. Many people say this, when they read something like that. Hey, anyway, I'm doing my duties. Okay, so therefore, let me go to the next verse. Finished. That is not the correct way. So, we will stop with that today. Very, very powerful. This should trigger the two words, Kuru Tvam, should trigger you into questioning your own beliefs. When somebody is asking you to do something, when I say somebody, it's not just some Tom, Dick and Harry. It's a it's a master. When the master is asking you to do something, that is the time where you need to wake up and start questioning your own beliefs. Do I really have that belief that I can do this? The master is believing in me, but am I believing in myself? That is the question. So we will stop with that. You think about these points which were given to you and absorb them. Do the homework. Don't worry too much whether you're doing these homeworks in the right way or wrong way. Just put that effort, because in the background a lot of healing energy is being sent. So the moment a student tries, puts that effort, then the healing Shakti will work and it will help you. So before we do the Nididhyasana meditation, I will take up a question. This question has been asked by Dr. Anushka Ram. So, Hari Om Yogishri, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Sir, when you were talking about being unique, I seem to have registered in my mind from the previous chapters that wanting to be unique is also a manifestation of your ego. Hence, I started mellowing down and stopped myself from wanting to be unique. It is in my nature to do things in a unique way, but now I understand that the bhavana behind being unique is what matters. Whether you want to be unique for name and fame, or you want to be unique to evolve towards the infinite. I just want to know if I'm right. Please clarify, sir. Shri Gurubhyo Namah, with love, reverence and gratitude, your humble sadhak, Anushka. Now, this is a very good question which Anushka ji has asked. This will be useful to everyone. You're saying in one of the earlier lectures what you had registered is that wanting to be unique is ego. Now in the previous verse, I think that Abhivyakti portion, when that was explained, I was saying be unique, express your individuality, express your uniqueness. Now, as I told you today, see, the messages are not different actually. What happens is, in your journey of inner growth, your consciousness keeps expanding. So when you hear the same thing at one point of time, you will understand it in one way. Now when you hear the same thing after a while, you will understand it in a totally different way, because your consciousness would have expanded. People who have been doing the empowerment courses, whether it is Kaya Tattva or Prana Tattva, now the Infinite Happiness is also available online. There are many people who have repeated these courses several times, and what they have always said is that every time we do, it is like a fresh empowerment. Yes, it is a fresh empowerment. Why empowerment? Even these Sunday discourses. Just go back some 2-3 weeks before whatever discourse, the session, whatever discourse was there on a Sunday, and listen to it today. You will think it is a new discourse. Points are there, but what is it that you understand? What is it that you absorb? That depends upon the level of your consciousness. This is number one. Now, number two, coming directly to the point of uniqueness. Even now, I'm saying the same thing. If you want to be unique, it is nothing but ego. So when we were talking about Abhivyakti, I never said, therefore you should now want to be unique. Being unique is a spiritual quality. Wanting to be unique is a negative quality. Don't get confused. Very, very simple. The moment you want to be unique, what you mean by that is you want to be separate. You want to stand out from others. There you are comparing yourself with somebody else. During the Abhivyakti portion, even during the excelling, the Vishishyate portion, what was said was that you focus on the quality and you be unique. You be unique means you be yourself. Automatically the uniqueness will be there. But the moment you say, I want to be unique, then see, instead of the word unique there, put the word separate. It will make it more clear. I want to be separate. That's what you're trying to say. I want to be different. Why? Why is it that you want to be different? Does a rose want to be different? Does a cuckoo want to be different from others? No. It is happy being itself. No comparison with others. So the moment you want to be different, it is always in comparison to others. So nowhere it is said, want to be unique. It was only said, be yourself and manifest yourself, and that will be your uniqueness. Wanting to be unique means you will deliberately do things in a different way just for a show off. If everybody is sitting on a chair, let us say, just for argument's sake, is sitting on a chair, now you will want to sit on the floor. In a yoga session, if everybody is bending towards the left, you will want to bend towards the right. Why? I am being unique. That is wanting to be different, wanting to be seen different. It is a manifestation of ego. So please understand these principles in the right way. So whatever you had registered earlier is correct only. Wanting to be unique, the desire to be unique, the desire to be different, they all come from ego. It will put a lot of pressure on your mind. That will prevent you from being yourself. Why can't you just be ordinary? The greatest of masters, they never wanted to be unique. They were just simple people. But there is an automatic uniqueness which came out of them. Two cuckoos are singing, both are unique. This cuckoo is not trying to copy another cuckoo. They are doing the same thing, yet there is a uniqueness. So you have mentioned that one thing is wanting to be unique for name and fame, but now the bhavana should be wanting to be unique for reaching the infinite. In order to reach the infinite, why should you want to be unique? So please understand that sadhana of abhivyakti and apply that principle properly. Similarly, vishishyate, I did mention, one of the meanings is to stand out, but that is incidental. The person focuses only on the quality, not on wanting to stand out. A yogi never wants to stand out. A yogi never wants to be recognized. A yogi never wants to be unique. But everything which he does will automatically be unique because he is one with nature. So, to sum it up, one is wanting to be separate. Wanting to be unique means that ego which wants to separate and show off. The other is just being yourself, finding out what you are good at and just manifesting that nature. There the uniqueness will come automatically. That is a spiritual quality. So when you are wanting to be unique, you will always try to do something different than others. If all are wearing one particular dress, now you will want to wear some other dress just to be different. That is no use. Actually, that is something like a disease. It's a kind of a mental disease. Of course, from a spiritual point of view, everything is a disease except the positive qualities and those which give you enlightenment. So, as far as the spiritual path is concerned, your goal is to merge with the infinite. The starting point is the individuality. When we come to the Finding Rhythm in Life program, I'll be taking the 12 aspects. No, we'll be covering this again there. So there the direct empowerment itself will be given. So how to manifest whatever your nature is without ego. That is what is being unique. So you have added this word wanting to be unique, wanting to be unique. So in some context, it's possible that it may have been said, wanting to be unique, which means wanting to be different, wanting to be separate. All these must have been used in a synonymous way there. That is the meaning. It is all a manifestation of ego. So why do you need to be different? Just be yourself. No pressures. Okay? So now we'll do the Nididhyasana. So this is a very important question which has been asked by Dr. Anushka. This will be very useful to everyone else also. That's why I took it up. Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. With every breath, I am becoming more and more relaxed. Feel the divine vibrations. With every breath, I am going deeper and deeper into myself. Beyond this physical body, beyond these various emotions and thoughts, lies my true essential self. My true essential self is supreme and infinite. I have infinite powers. I invoke the power of self-belief within me. I am Swayam Prakashit, self-illuminating. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes. Rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, cheeks, forehead, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. So we had a very powerful session today. These verses are indeed very, very powerful. Every principle has the potential to transform your life 100%. So here you're exposed to many such principles. So you're maximizing the chances of self-transformation and life transformation. So do that homework. Work on your limiting beliefs. It is your belief system which is making you think in a particular way, which is making you feel in a particular way and act in that way. Okay, so regarding the 22-day program, I'm sure all of you are doing your sadhana on a daily basis. It's very important. The energy levels are going to be extremely high. So don't just simply come and sit there passively. Come with a full bhavana. And that bhavana comes only if you do sadhana properly. As I told you, the entire infinite wisdom, the energy can be given. But you will be able to absorb only that much which your vessel can take. So imagine if you take a spoon to an ocean and bring some water, only to that extent which the spoon can hold. If you have a bigger vessel, more water. Bigger vessel, more water. So every Sunday I am preparing you so that your vessel capacity increases. So you should support it with your personal sadhana. That is extremely important. And as I told you last week, if you're registering your child or some elderly person who's bedridden or all this, just make a mention of that so that special healing will be given. Of course, in the last empowerment, a couple, they had registered their newborn child. And what is interesting is they never mentioned it there. But during the empowerment, it is a child's soul which received maximum energy, the baby's soul. So when a person is prepared, that automatically happens. But you need to do your duty. That is, you have to put your effort. That is why. Okay? So thank you very much. I'll see you in the next session. Hari Om.